Hi guys, so just a quick video about the ticker. I want to start from here, from the run.py, and then we'll go down the rabbit hole just a bit. So the ticker really is kind of already set up for for like a lot of growth, for a very big application. So what we're somewhat setting up here already is the possibility to run several user action listeners, which are these action queues. So we will be able to be running multiple applications of the action queue, which is everything that is actually listening to what people are doing, and then a single application of the ticker, which is what processes everything that happens every tick. And the way those are going to communicate currently is through this dictionary. And then later down the line, as according to these comments, it'll be through a different application that simply communicates, that its whole purpose is just communicating between other applications. So to get a bit more further down into how these things actually work, if we look, well, let's start by looking at the ticker. So actually, let's go all the way down to the scheduler. So the scheduler is exactly what it sounds like. It schedules things, right? And so we start off the schedule and we say every minute run this heartbeat. So this heartbeat is just something that is running every minute to say that it's still alive. And it also runs on a separate thread, meaning it will be right now it will be running on a different thread than the main thread, which is the one that is listening to the user actions. Later down the line, this will be in its own application. So this bit here can kind of ignore for now. This run threaded just means that multiple things can run at the same time. So this is what is going to allow us to process everything very fast. This is the heartbeat that I was telling you about. And now we start getting to the juice, which is the tick action. Now this tick action means that this will schedule it to run every tick. And we can set the length of the tick. So for example, right now, I've got a tick length of 10 minutes. And if I run the application, it will show here that it's scheduling to run the tick at every 10 minutes. If I change this to 5 and I rerun it, now it will schedule to run the tick every 5 minutes. So as you can see, this is already quite powerful. It allows us a lot of flexibility of what to do with the game in terms of tick speeds. And if we're running multiple servers, we can easily have multiple servers running at different speeds. And then here's just running the scheduler, and then we just instantiate it. Okay, so basically we've got a scheduler that is running the whole thing behind the scenes, for which we can adjust the tick length. Then the ticker has the tick actions. So if we start by looking at the ticker, there's this message broker, which is the one that we were talking about before. So this is just, it receives a communication from the several different apps. It has the basic scheduler, so it interacts with the basic scheduler, and here we're already scheduling a tick action. And so the tick action that we are scheduling is this request tick. Now, if we go into the request tick, we can see that all this is really doing is it prints out requesting tick, it sends a message to the message broker of request tick, and then it just goes ahead and waits for the tick. Now, what does waiting for the tick mean? What does it actually mean? It just means that it's listening to the message broker to see if the other applications are waiting for the tick. If they are, then we can go ahead and tick. Then we can say, okay, we've already ticked, we're no longer requesting it, and the tick is done. And that's it, and it finishes that. Okay, and so if we want to look at what the actual tick does, so we can go to the tick, and the tick, it checks what the current tick is and what the next tick will be. Then it does tick phase 1, tick phase 2, and tick update. Now, tick phase 1 is going to be everything that can be done in simultaneous. So for example, explore everybody's lands, construct everybody's buildings, train everybody's military. So things that are independent of each other. Tick phase 2 is going to be things like calculating income, calculating power consumption, calculating things that are dependent on the things that happened before it. And so these ones we will probably be running it linearly. Well, I'll see if we can run it linearly or concurrently, depending on what the things that are being done actually are. We might add a few more phases, we'll see. And then we just update tick, so we call the tick table API just to update the tick, and this just adds another tick to the database rows, so that we know that it's done ticking. So that's the tick. As you can see, it's actually in some ways straightforward, in some ways a bit convoluted. And so here it's the tick action, so we just call it tick explorer.tick, which we've already seen in the other video. So here, as we said, it was waiting for the tick, assuming that the applications are waiting for the tick, then it ticks. When it's done, it says I'm no longer requesting the tick, and the tick is completed. Okay, and so if we go back to this run.py, we've got the message broker. We've already seen the ticker, so now we just need to look at this action queue. So the action queue is here. The action queue is what is listening to the user. So every time that a user does something, so for example, they explore, they attack, they build, it comes into the action queue. Now, the action queue, the first thing that it does as well is it schedules this tick action. So every tick, it says prepare tick. What does prepare tick mean? It means that it waits for all the actions to be done. Then it sets the tick completed to false. This is just to be sure that it's setting it to false to always ensure that it knows that the tick hasn't been done. And then it says I am now waiting for the tick, which is what the ticker was waiting for. It says if the app is waiting for the tick, then we can tick. And so this one is one that is saying I am now ready and waiting for the tick. And now that it is waiting for the tick, it will be waiting for the tick to actually be done. And so here it is listening to the message broker to see has it been completed. If true, then we can stop waiting, right? So if we go back here, this is the one that says, this is the one that says the tick has been completed. So as you can see, like they are talking to each other. That's the purpose. They are talking to each other. So once it's done waiting for the tick, it goes back. So join just means like get all the threads, get all the stuff that was happening at the same time, and make sure that they are now just one and only happening now. And it's no longer waiting. Okay, and it checks that if the tick was not completed. Let's change this and let's say if the completed is false instead of not true. If the completed is false, it's not tick. Okay, and so that's how the ticker works. So you've got these applications which are listening to the user, which are listening to the user performing actions, and then every tick they will schedule this tick action of prepare tick. So they will be waiting for the ticker to actually tick. And on the other side, we've got the ticker, which will also schedule this tick action request tick. So when the tick comes, it requests the tick, and it waits for the other applications to be ready for it. So it waits for them to finish doing all the things that the player has requested. So for example, if you're running a PK and everybody's clicking at the same time right before the tick, it will wait for all of those to go through first. And then as soon as the app says, okay, well, now I'm waiting for the tick, this one is ready. Okay, so now that you've done all these actions, I can go ahead and process the tick. So there's not going to be that scenario where it's starting to process the tick and people are still kidnapping before the hour sort of thing. No, it's going to wait for all of those things that were put in before the tick to be processed, rather than maybe it will finish processing the tick before it finishes processing the kidnappings. Okay, so this is to avoid those scenarios and those clashes. It will wait for all the actions that were scheduled before the tick to be done, and only then will it tick. I hope that was clear. And just to show you how easy it is to change the tick length, I believe I already did, but now if we just put this to 15, we rerun the app, there we go. It will now run every 15 minutes. Like, this is so awesome. So awesome. So easy to do as well. Loving it. Alright guys, thank you.